All right, all praise to Yahweh, the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS, also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel, Lord willing, I'm of that number. All right, so we're going to go back into Revelation 13 and 16, speak a little bit about this prophecy and this warning that we find within these one or two scriptures. Okay. There is given more information as far as who is the beast. All right, what is the image of the beast, and then what we're going to speak on today, the mark of the beast. But these are three distinct things. All right, the beast itself, the image, and the mark. All right, today we're going to talk about the mark of the beast. Okay. So let's start here in Revelation 13 and 16, and it reads, "And he causeth all." I'm going to stop right here for a minute because I do want to speak about this, all right? Especially given, not especially given, because these people do things every day to point to whom exactly these people are. All right, and the world just ignores it. Or they're putting a lot to just go along with it, all right? People they have to play a certain role in the Lord's movie, all right? And some of those roles, all right, equal up to being ignorant. All right, they just don't want to hear the facts. They're willfully, we actually did a lesson on that. Are you willfully ignorant? And I think even that lesson had to do with the mark of the beast, I think. All right, I can't remember, but all right, people have to play certain roles in the Lord's movie. All right, you have the antagonists, all right, which are the wicked, all right, which we're going to speak about here. All right, the antagonists are the and he that we're about to speak about. The protagonists are the children of Israel, okay? And the extras, all right, in movies are the other nations, all right? So let's start here. Again, Revelation 13 and 16, "And he causeth all." Now, I started to say especially because of, but all this is doing, what I'm about to mention here, is adding to the file of Esau, Edom. All right, it's going right into the file of Esau, Edom, the profile of Esau, Edom, the characteristics of Esau, Edom. The world is the ones who are the other nations, all right, and the lower level Edomites are also taken by surprise of who these people are, but the men of the Lord are not. Now, we've been telling you, starting with my teachers, all right, and their teachers before them, have been telling you who Esau, Edom is, and pointing out their behaviors, their repetitive behaviors at that. Over time, the scriptures point to these people, man, straight to these people, right? Directly at these people is who the scriptures point at as being the ones that are contrary to the Lord, all right? The ones that are the wicked, okay? The ones that are against the Messiah, who come to do the workings of Satan and the devil, okay? So, and he, let's go here really quick and go to Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. All right, Esau, Edom, first of all, Esau, Edom is the self-called and so-called white man. Does this mean that everyone that looks so-called white is an Edomite? No. But Esau, Edom is the self-called and so-called white man. All right, you have to know, you have to understand what we're saying here. Most people won't understand what we are saying here. All right, they'll just take they'll hear this and hear white or black and think that this is a colorism thing. It is not. All right, this man has put colorism into the world. Okay? All right? We state that the facts of color is that the Lord is a so-called black man. All right? He is a so-called black man. So the beginning of this man's lie has to do with, well, one of the lies that he tells is that image that he has floating around of who the Messiah is. All right, now most of the world is starting to admit that yes, the Lord, the Messiah, is not a so-called white man. Well, who put that picture out there? Who pushed that image? Okay, and colorism does play on the minds of people. A lot of Israelites left the scriptures, right? Left searching for the truth because of that image. That image acted as a stumbling block, a filtering mechanism of the Lord. All right. Everything happens because the Lord wills it. All right. He's showing who is different, or the difference between who is his and who isn't. All right. For them people that didn't let them people that left, all right, did they study? Okay. Did they read? Okay. Did they endure? Did they prove all things and hold fast to that which is good? All right. So these are all things that we listen to and we keep close to us, man. We keep these things. Okay. So they ran to something else that looked melanated or closer to them, which ended up being another people that had them in slavery. All right. They ran from one slave master looking image into another. All right. Ishmaelites. All right. That's who Esau learned how to put people into a bondage from. Okay. All right. And Esau took that and ran with it, man. All right. But that whole Islamic thing, the Ishmaelites, that's not that is not of your ways, Israel. Okay. You ran to something else, thinking that it was better for you when it's all the same thing. It's keeping you away from your power. Okay. It's keeping you away from your power. As a matter of fact, uh, let's go here to Psalm 83. This is Psalm 83. Let me start at 1. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O power; hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head." All right, they've been talking shit and loading up these plans, right, and have become prideful because Israel has fallen into their hands, man. All right, fell for all types of bullshit. Myself being one of them. All right. It is a testament to the power, the spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai that we could come out of this. All right. You have Israelites in all walks of life that look like all nations because we were scattered into all nations that came out of this lie, man. Psalm 83 and 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Who is the they that took crafty counsel? Well, in the previous verse, it says, "For lo, thine enemies." And the enemies of the Lord are our enemies, all right, and vice versa. So Psalm 83 and 3 again, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." And what comes with the name being cut off? All right, the heritage, everything that comes with the name of Israel that we find in the scriptures, they want to cut that off. Your memory of it, right? Your heritage, your power. Okay? Psalm 83 and 5. "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." Now listen to this. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. Okay? Of Moab and the Hagarenes. All right? And it goes on to list the enemies. Okay? Right there. Edom is the head, and the Ishmaelites are included. So you went from Esau, Edom, to Ishmael. Neither are your power, Israel. All right, neither are your ways. Okay? And the reason you go to these other people is because, again, that the name Israel may be no more in remembrance. You don't know who you are. But in this day, the Lord is calling, okay? Out loud, still, all right? He's always had a remnant that held on to his truth, okay? And I said truth, all right? Truth, okay? There's always been a remnant. Okay, and even in this day, he's speaking loud and clear here. You can see the lies that all these other nations push. Okay, and you cannot get away from what the truth is, man. You cannot disprove this. You know why? It's Luke 21 and 15. Let's go there really quick. Luke 21 and 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom. This is not due to our emotions or our opinions. All right. The Lord has gifted us with true faith. Okay. To where we apply the things that we learn through the scriptures, through the men of the Lord. All right. We listen. He gave us the power to listen. All right. He gave us the power to see the world for what it is. And if you could listen, all right, and see, then you would know. But you are caught up by stumbling blocks, man. Okay? Luke 21 and 15, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And a lot of our adversaries, right, even include other Israelites. 2/3 of Israel here in America, okay, are the adversaries of the Lord. You just fall right in line with these other nations, man. You help them in their mission to let me see, cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. You just follow their ways. You repeat their lies, man. Or make up your own. All right? You forgot about the Lord. You do not know the Lord, man. Okay? So where were we? Back here in Micah 2. Okay? Let's talk to these people. Let's talk to these tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites and the Moabites and the Hagarenes. Let's talk to them really quick, all right? Micah 2, it says, woe to the oppressors. More so, this is for Esau, Edom. All right, yes, the other nations, all right, they got caught up in his lies also. Like we said at the beginning, Esau, Edom is the protagonist of this whole thing. All right, yes, we fell due to our disobedience. All right, but they overstepped their boundaries. All right, they overstepped their boundaries, man. And the Lord has, all right, he's going to do something to you, Esau. And you other nations, but especially to Esau. So it says, woe to oppressors. That's the heading of Micah, the 2nd chapter. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Furthermore, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. And so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And that especially has to do with what he did with us. But still, he does that with other nations also. In this Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary, under the definition of Esau, Edom, hold on. Let me read this. It says, Edom, Edomites. It says the nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau. He founded the country, so his name is equated with Edom. It says the country was also called Seir or Mount Seir, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites lived. Now down here at the bottom of this definition, it says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, which means that even these other nations, all right, a part of that mercy that they're going to have is living in a place that no longer has Esau. All right, we don't have to worry about Esau, Edom. Again, when the Lord comes back, man, they're going to be taken out. But for now, these other nations are caught up in their craftiness, their divination, their ways. Okay, as we read in Psalm 83, right, they're caught up with the same thing that Israelites were caught up in. All right, Esau, or Asaph speaks to this, but we'll get to that. Actually, let's do it now. This is Psalm 73, with the heading being the end of the wicked contrasted with that of the righteous. Psalm 73, it says, a psalm of Asaph. Truly, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai is good to Israel, even to such are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. Now, this has to do with a lot of us also. Before the Lord deemed it uh, uh, deemed us worthy enough to be blessed with this truth. All right, but also these other nations too. All right, everyone is in uh, either in terror of this man or envious of this man. Okay. So Psalm 73 and 2 again, but as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Okay. So this goes into this goes along with being caught up in their craftiness, their divination. All right. This is how the earth is when it's ran by the wickedness. This is our lesson to learn. All right. Although the world is witnessing this and uh, falling under the same things, to a lesser degree that we are, all right, they're still witnessing the same thing. They're coming to the knowledge that this man, all right, Esau, Edom, the self-called and so-called white man, is wicked as fuck, man. All right. Psalm 73, I'm going to jump down to 5. It says, they are not in trouble as other men. Now, you know what? Let me go ahead and get 4. Psalm 73 and 4. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. It seems like they just go on forever. All right, they have no worries. Okay. There was one powerful man. I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember if it was Rothschild or Rockefeller. But you know how you have to get in line for certain transplants, for certain organs. This man had 9 of them. He lived to be over 100 years old. All right, it's either 7 or 9 of these surgeries. I can't remember. But as a matter of fact, let me see. Let's look this up. Let's see. Hold on, because they like to not really speak about these people, man. Hold on. Oops. I typed in who had more than 5 transplants and lived to be over 100. It says, based on available information, David Rockefeller is reportedly the individual who had multiple heart transplants and lived to be over 100. Specifically, it is stated that he had 6 heart transplants and lived to be 101 years old. Another source mentions that he had 7 heart transplants and lived to be 101 years old. All right. So going back here to Psalm 73. All right. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. All right. Most people have to be on a waiting list. All right. And even then, that doesn't guarantee anything. All right. Some people can buy their health. All right. And just live to be over 101. Some people are, all right, have that type of strength. Okay. Power in this earth to where they can just jump lists like that. All right. Psalm 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Now, just recently, just speaking of recent news, right? We're not going to speak about this too much, but this whole Epstein list thing is a joke, man. All right, and everything that has to do with Epstein, even one of those princes overseas, I can't think of his name. All right, that was involved with that, and his mother removed his power or something like this. All right, then you have over here the Epstein shit going down, and all of a sudden now there's no list. All right, and that's going to hold. That's going to hold. Like, what are people going to do? All right, Esau, Edom, all right, is not, like it says in this other, in this verse that we're on, they are not in trouble as other men. Neither are they plagued like other men. Listen to this. This is going to explain the whole Epstein thing a little bit, man. But this is, and I don't mean to just, this is not saying just focus on Epstein. This is saying that this is just another page in the file, in the profile of Esau, Edom. Okay? This fits their characteristics. All right? This is who they are. Period, man. So it says, this is Psalm 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. Okay? That's something that they can't escape from. Their pride, man, it's a chain on them. It's a sign of who they are, man. Just like our plight is a sign of who we are. All right? But the world will tell you that they are not in power. They're not Esau, Edom. All right? That there is no Epstein list. The world will tell you that we are not the people. The world will tell you that the Messiah, the Almighty, the disciples are so-called white people. Okay? That they look so-called white. Okay? All these are lies, man. Okay? Pride and lies, all right, compasseth these people about like a chain, too. All right? Lies also. It says, violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. And still, what do? They want to put the clamp on people, man. All right? Despite having more than what they could wish, they still want more. It says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through through the earth. All right? They are God in their own eyes, and they got people believing the same thing, man. People would rather believe this man, all right, than the Lord. All right, you hear how people speak about the scriptures, period. Let alone this truth. They really come against the truth. But just hear how they speak about the scriptures, man. They would rather lean on this man, right, and what he can do for them than turn to the Lord, man. It's crazy. It's wild, man. Okay. Man. Let me jump down here to 12. It says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. All right. The previous verse, 73 and 11, it says, and they say, how doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? All right. They want you to turn towards their way. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about their judgment really quick. Back here in Micah chapter 2. I'll start at 1 again. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. And when the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Okay, we're going to hit Job 9 and 24 in a second. Micah 2 and 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. All right. So no matter what, man, you are going to receive your judgment, Esau, Edom. You know who you are, right? And the world is going to know. All right, you're going to do all you can to convince the people, all right, but you don't even consider that the Lord is not going to change his judgment against you. You have most of the world believing you, all right, riding your coattails. That's not going to change the judgment against you, man. What you have coming is coming, no matter what. Job 9 and 24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, back here in Micah 2, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds when the morning is light. They practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right, now we know why the world is the way that it is. Because Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay. It says he covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? All right. You made the judges look like you. Okay. You make the judges go along with what you say. All right. If you tell it, that's the story, right? But really what you did was you changed, including that image of the Messiah, you changed the look of him, all right, which is blasphemy. You changed his name, right? You changed how the disciples looked. You changed how the Lord looked. All right, go look at the Last Supper. All right, that image or that painting or whatever. Okay, type in the Messiah, the only begotten Son, in your search engines and see what comes up. And filter it through the scriptures. Nowhere it does not describe the Lord as to looking like that, long hair, effeminate looking ass motherfucker, man. That's not the Messiah. Okay? That's another power. All right, that image, that name represents white supremacy. Compare it to the scriptures, if the Lord give you the power to do so. Okay? So, all right, let me check this time, because we still have to go over the rest of Revelation 13. I just wanted to get on that and he. And again, remember, man, Luke 21:15, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. You filter these things through the scriptures, you will see that they are true, not according to our words, our feelings, and our opinions, but according to our power, Yahweh and Yahushai. All right, let me check this time real quick. All right, I'm gonna cut the video right there. We're gonna come back with a part 2, speaking more to this prophecy, this warning that we find here in Revelation 13, verse 16. All right, so with that, I hope this came through as sincere and edifying. And with that, all praise to Yahweh In the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS, also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.